Hello, everyone. I am live. We are live. If you don't hear me, please push the button with a microphone in the right bottom corner of this video. Welcome to everyone who will join live and welcome to everyone who will watch later, the replay later. I am Carolina Sherman, business mindset coach for beginning online entrepreneurs. I live in Belgium and it's 8:30 p.m. here at the moment. I'm curious, where are you from? Let me know in the comments. Here in Belgium, it's winter time, so that means cold, lots of rain. And last week we also had loads of snow. Actually, I prefer the sunshine, but I have to admit that the weather fits the Christmas atmosphere. So that's something I love as well. But I didn't came here to talk to you about the weather. I came here to talk about information overload and how to organize information to derive maximum benefits of it. If you have any questions around this when I'm talking, just put them in the comments, or when you're watching the replay, put your questions in the comments and I will go through them and answer you afterwards. I will also be delighted if you are here live and you have questions to go through them at the end of this talk. The internet is amazing. Don't you agree? You can literally find everything you want on it. Do you have a question or a problem that needs to be solved? Just ask Google and the answer just comes to you. But sometimes all the information that is ready at your disposal, it can be intimidating, an overload, just too much. It's possible you go through all this interesting information all day long, your emails, you just keep on checking them on your phone, you just consume it all. But if you're not deriving the benefits from all the information that comes to you, all the blog posts that you read, all the emails that you read, if you don't organize all that information or find a way to implement and use it, then you are just actually wasting your time, big time wasting your time. And if you're anything like me, an email inbox can give you this immense feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out, doesn't it? Don't you have that as well? I follow loads of business gurus and marketing specialists, and I follow them to learn from them, to spy, to see how they do things, to see how much emails they send out, and all that kinds of stuff. You probably do that too, don't you? Or maybe you get their emails accidentally because you opted in on a freebie they put out to lure you into their email list, and now you're on there and you get all their emails. And the thing is, they do a very good job at providing information. They do a very good job of letting you know that they exist, of keeping their name and brand on top of your mind, totally visible in your inbox. The marketing gurus and online business masters, they send out so many emails every day that you just can't follow it. Mostly, I let the emails come in. I let them just be unopened in my inbox, in the hope that I will find a day in the future to go through all my emails at once. But mostly I don't find that day, and I end up deleting them all unopened, leaving me with a slight disappointed feeling of FOMO, fear that I missed something valuable when I deleted everything. Don't you have that as well? That's why today I will talk you through a system or a workflow on how to work your way through all the information that comes to you, so that the overload of information will become a blessing instead of a burden. And how to take notes, implement and execute on all the interesting information that you read and watch. I mean, they always said power is knowledge, but don't you agree that it's knowledge put to action that's actually the power? What are you with all the knowledge if you don't ever do anything with it? Think about it. What are you with an amazing idea if you never execute on it? So what's the first step? The first step is prioritizing and knowing what's important for you at any given time. 2 days ago, I was at a concert here in Belgium of Spinvis. It's a Dutch band, very good. And someone was standing next to me and he took out his cell phone every 2 minutes to take a picture, but he was texting to his friends and quickly watching his Facebook newsfeed. Can you imagine? I mean, the concert was amazing, and he wasn't but at the moment when he wasn't checking his phone, he really was into the music, I could tell. So besides the fact that the light of his cell phone screen kind of bothered me and was a distraction for me and my experience of the concert, I felt kind of sorry for him too. He missed out when he was checking his cell phone. So one moment in the show, after taking a picture of the artist, he accidentally clicked through on his cell phone to read and scroll through the feed of his newspaper. He was checking the news. Can you freaking imagine? I was mind blown. I was like, how is this even possible? So in a very friendly way, I softly laid my hand on top of his cell phone screen to, give him a sign. And as he felt busted, he smiled at me and he said, oh yeah, sorry, it's an addiction. And I said, yeah, that's too bad. I mean, I'm sure your cell phone is okay and fine without you checking it for an hour. But the next thing for you is with you being okay with not checking your cell phone for an hour. So you might be wondering, why am I telling you this story? It's a perfect example of someone who did not have his priorities in line. He was being fooled by all the triggers and information overload. And he was consuming information that he did not need at that moment of the concert. And therefore, he was accidentally screwing up his own experience of the music, the concert, and the evening. I bet he's the kind of person who checks his phone on the dinner table with friends all the time, don't you think? Anyway, that being said, how do you do it well? Or how do you start prioritizing? Well, first, I want you to know how the brain works. In real life, your brain prioritizes all the time. Your brain protects you from becoming totally nuts. When you walk around, there's so much information everywhere. Even if you go from your couch to the toilet, that short walk too is filled with so much information. I mean, in my home, for instance, I pass a pile of letters on the staircase. I pass a coupon for a wellness retreat on a small cupboard. I pass all the plants that need to be watered. I pass the walls that need paint because, we just moved and they need paint in the future. I pass by a window where I could even discover more information where I could be triggered from. But mostly when I go to the toilet, I don't see any of that. I don't notice those things because it's not on the top of my mind. It's not on the top of my list with priorities. And your brain filters out what's on top of your mind, what comes to your mind or came to your interest recently will suddenly start to pop up in your reality. Another example, did you ever buy a car? And then suddenly when you bought that car, you notice when you're driving around how many of the same cars that you just bought are driving around. You never saw them before. And suddenly it seems like everyone is driving around with the car that you just bought. Those cars were there before, but you just didn't notice them. Now that you bought that new car, it's on top of your mind. It's fresh in your memory or in your experience. So that's why your brain allows you to see and notice those other cars that are there at the same time. I just lost for a second my train of thoughts, and I remember I got it back. I remember that 3 years ago, I made a commitment to myself. I made a commitment to myself to start meditating. I wanted to learn how I could control my mind. And all of a sudden, I really remember that year was filled with recommendations about meditation, books, courses, talks around that topic. And suddenly they were even talking about it in my favorite business podcast. And suddenly emails around that topic were finding their way to my inbox. So that's a classic example of when you put your priorities online or when something is fresh on your mind, those things will actually really begin and start to pop up in your reality. So I am telling you this in order to have value out of all the information that comes to you. And in order to derive the benefits out of all the information online, it's important that you put up a lens, a frame through which you will filter what's important for you and what isn't. Well, there are so many topics and articles to read that can be interesting to read about, it's important for you that you really intentionally set out a frame or a lens through which you will look out to the world, through which you will look to the internet and a mass of information that is grabbed online. So I want you to ask for yourself, what at this moment is of value for you? What can help you to move on? What can help you to level up? What's the next move for you? What do you want more information on? What is a problem at this moment in your business that you want to solve? So it starts with a question, with a good question. And Tony Robbins already said it, the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask. And bad questions are those in the realm of, why does this happen to me? Or why is my inbox so full? Or why can't I follow? Or why this or why that? Those are just bad questions. Better questions are problem-solving questions, open questions. What's the best way for me to ... Or how can I go from here to there ... Or what can be the next important steps that I need to take in my business so I will be able to grow my list to 5,000 people, or so that I will be able to have $4,000 in revenue every month. Those are better questions. Of course, for everyone, the questions will be different. You have to make your own questions to really see what are the priorities for you at this moment. And yeah, it will help you to just put up a lens for yourself to scan and look to the internet and derive the information that you need or want. Asking these questions sets up a scanning process in your brain for what's relevant for you and what is not. When you define for yourself what's relevant for you at this moment, what matters and what you want more information on, it helps you to intentionally delete emails without any fear of missing out, and to open those that you will be, that will be or might be useful to you. You can go out and intentionally seek information that you need, or intentionally ignore blog posts that is irrelevant for you at this moment. And I think maybe it will be a great idea for you to start every week with a moment where you define your top questions for that week, to set your intentions about your business. What are the top priorities at this moment in your business? Do that every week again. What are the problems you want to solve this week in your business? It's the number one strategy of how the law of attraction works as well. First of all, know what you want. That's rule number one in the law of attraction. And then you will attract what you want, or you will attract what you need. So this was step one, putting up a lens through which you will filter the storm of information out there. And then step number two is to do something with the information that you go through. Step one is attracting the right kind of information, and step two is filing that information and organizing it. And then step three is putting what you learned into action. So for the second step, it's first of all of importance that when you read an article, a book, an email, or watch a video, that you take notes during or afterwards. What was the powerful message that you want to remember? Ask yourself, what are the steps, or what is a formula, or what is a strategy I just learned that I want to remember? Ask yourself that when you are watching information. At this moment too, you are watching information. Think about it like, okay, I want to take notes. What's interesting for me? What can I note down? You can write down the different steps. So if you read a book without taking notes, it will just have been a waste of time. At the moment of reading, you will think like, oh, wow, this is so valuable. I will use this. I can do something with this. You might even recommend a book to a friend or the article because you thought it was so brilliant. But if you did not take notes, you will forget the specifics or actionable steps, or you will forget that brilliant quote that you could use in your own business. And then at the moment that you will need it later, when you think like, oh yeah, I want to write a blog post about this and I read something interesting in that book that resonated with it, but I don't know anymore what it was, I don't know anymore what page it was, and you just have to reread the whole book, and that's just stupid, isn't it? That's just a waste of time of reading the book in the first place. So this is why you really need to take notes, and why you need a system to file and organize your notes. Because if you have like maybe 3 different notebooks, or if you write down just on a piece of paper and it lays everywhere, that's not gonna bring you anywhere. Like if you write down some interesting stuff here and some interesting stuff there, it's just one big mess. You can hardly find it back when you need it. I knew I wrote it down somewhere, but where is that piece of paper? Or in which notebook was it again? Or even worse, you know, if you didn't took the notes, then you can't find it back anyhow. So you need to be more organized. You need to find something. You can go old school and you can use those note cards filed in a box with per topic. Like you can have note cards on marketing, you can have note cards on list building, you can have note cards on stories, and so on and so on. Just something that fits your business and all the categories. Or you can store and organize a little bit more modern your notes online. Or digital with an app, maybe like Evernote is a very great app for that, on your phone and on your computer. Or you can use Ginkgo, that's an online filing system as well. And if you do this when you read a book, when you read an email, when you encounter an interesting quote, saying, strategy, whatever, if you take notes and store them, you will be able to find them back really quickly. And you can even start puzzling with all your different note cards, or when you see all your notes together around the same topic. Writing a blog post, an email, or even writing a book or making a course will go 10 times as quickly, because you already did your research before. And when you need it, you can easily access it. So that's really important. Like now at this moment, just watching your emails every day from all those different business gurus who give you valuable information, and not taking notes and not writing it down, not organizing it, that's really waste of time. So it's one thing to have the system in place, that's already really key, that's important, but it's another thing to also do something with all the information that you have organized. So have you ever been to an event? I'm curious, type it in the comments box. Maybe like a business event where you were so inspired and you had all those ideas and you took all these notes when you were there, and then only afterwards, when you got back home, back to life, back to reality, to leave it just with the notes. Even 3 months later, you did not execute on anything that you learned or what you thought was such a great idea to help your business grow. Did you ever had that situation? I mean, I really have. So you can ask yourself, what's even the point of consuming all this information if you're not going to do anything with it? So the tip I can give you to actually do something with all the gold you consume, or should I maybe say it differently, how to make gold out of all the information that you consume, is to ask yourself yet another question right before you start consuming the information. And this is step 3. Right before you start reading an email, a book, or a blog post, watch a video series, or listen to a podcast, ask yourself, what will be 3 actionable items, or 5 actionable items, that doesn't really matter, but make it not too big. What will be 3 actionable items I can implement right away in my business? Before you start reading or consuming that information, ask yourself that question. What can be 3 actionable items? What will be the 3 key points I can take with me and implement right away in my business? So if you start out with this intention and this mindset when you go through information, your brain will automatically be on the lookout for actionable information. So consuming information with this intention will also motivate and inspire you to really take action afterwards, because you have this intention from the start. So that's it for dealing with information overload. Step 1 is put up a filter or a lens through which you will scan what is relevant for you and what is not. Step 2 is take notes and organize them. And then step 3 is set the intention before you start to read or watch, to be on the lookout for actionable items that you will apply or you can apply to your business specifically. So if you have questions, you can put them in the comment box and I will answer them myself. Thank you very much for watching this talk. I hope you will derive something interesting from it, or you will have some benefits from it. Really, thank you for being here, and I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays that are coming through. I probably will only be back again on Facebook Live after the holidays, because this week my tonsils will be removed and I think I will have a really sore throat and speaking will be a little bit difficult. So I will be back for Carolina Sherman in January. And I've got some very interesting information lined up for then, so I'll keep you informed. Bye-bye.